In January 1917, a single message began a journey that would alter the course of world history. At the time, the United States remained officially neutral. Although Americans followed the war closely, the nation had not yet entered the conflict. Across the Atlantic, however, Germany faced a difficult strategic situation. The war had become a costly stalemate. British naval blockades were damaging the German economy. Military leaders searched for ways to break the deadlock before Allied resources became overwhelming. In Berlin, officials believed they had found a solution. But one secret telegram would soon become one of the greatest diplomatic disasters of the entire war. Germany's leadership had decided to resume unrestricted submarine warfare. Under this policy, German submarines would attack ships approaching Allied ports, including vessels from neutral countries. The strategy offered potential military benefits. By disrupting shipping, Germany hoped to weaken Britain and force a favorable outcome before American intervention became decisive. Yet German leaders understood the risks. Aggressive submarine warfare might provoke the United States into entering the war. To prepare for that possibility, a contingency plan was developed. The plan would soon be communicated through a secret diplomatic message. The author of that message was Arthur Zimmermann, Germany's Foreign Secretary. On January 16, 1917, Zimmermann sent a coded telegram intended for the German ambassador in Mexico. The instructions were extraordinary. If the United States entered the war against Germany, Mexico would be invited to join Germany as an ally. In return, Germany suggested support for the recovery of territories lost by Mexico during the 19th century. The proposal referenced Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. Zimmermann believed the message would remain secret. History would prove otherwise. To understand what happened next, it is important to understand how international communications worked during the war. Germany faced a major problem. Many of its overseas communication cables had been cut earlier in the conflict. As a result, German diplomatic messages often traveled through alternative routes. Ironically, some messages passed through communication systems connected to neutral nations, including the United States. German officials believed their encrypted communications remained secure. What they did not know was that British intelligence had been monitoring key international communications for years. A secret organization known as Room 40 was already waiting. Room 40 was one of Britain's most important intelligence operations. Staffed by linguists, cryptographers, naval officers, and analysts, the organization specialized in intercepting and decoding enemy communications. Over time, British intelligence had acquired significant knowledge of German diplomatic codes. When the Zimmermann telegram was intercepted, experts immediately recognized its potential importance. However, reading the message completely was not simple. Parts of the code remained difficult to interpret. Days of careful analysis followed. Gradually, the contents of the telegram began to emerge. The discovery stunned British officials. The message presented Britain with both an opportunity and a dilemma. The contents could significantly influence American public opinion. Yet revealing the telegram carried risks. If Britain simply announced that it had intercepted German diplomatic communications, Germany might discover that its codes had been compromised. Valuable intelligence sources could be lost. British officials therefore needed a way to share the information without exposing the full extent of their capabilities. A carefully planned intelligence operation began. The challenge was not merely obtaining the secret. The challenge was revealing it without revealing how it had been obtained. British intelligence eventually secured an alternative copy of the telegram from Mexico. This provided a plausible explanation for how the information had been acquired. With this additional evidence, British officials prepared to approach the United States. The contents of the message were shared with American authorities. At first, some officials reacted cautiously. The allegations were extraordinary. Could the telegram truly be authentic? Was Germany genuinely proposing an alliance against the United States? Further examination confirmed the message's legitimacy. The implications were profound. In late February and early March 1917, the Zimmermann telegram became public. Newspapers across the United States published its contents. The reaction was immediate. Many Americans were shocked by the proposal. The idea that a foreign power had encouraged military action against the United States generated widespread concern. Public debate intensified. Some citizens remained cautious about entering the war. Others viewed the telegram as evidence that Germany posed a direct threat to American interests. Political pressure began to grow. The national mood was changing rapidly. As newspapers continued publishing details of the telegram, reactions spread beyond the United States. Governments around the world followed the controversy closely. Diplomats attempted to assess the potential consequences. In Germany, officials watched the unfolding situation with growing concern. Many hoped that doubts about the message's authenticity might limit the damage. For a brief period, uncertainty remained. Critics questioned whether the telegram could have been fabricated. Supporters of neutrality urged caution. Yet events were about to take an unexpected turn. The controversy would soon become impossible to deny. Then came one of the most surprising moments in diplomatic history. On March 3, 1917, Arthur Zimmermann publicly confirmed that the telegram was genuine. Observers across the world were stunned. Many had expected Germany to deny the allegations. Instead, Zimmermann openly acknowledged sending the message. His admission eliminated much of the remaining uncertainty. For American newspapers, the confirmation became a major headline. For critics of Germany, it provided powerful evidence. Public opinion shifted further. The political impact grew dramatically. Meanwhile, the Mexican government carefully evaluated the proposal. Military planners examined the practical realities of such an alliance. The conclusions were not encouraging. Mexico had recently experienced years of internal conflict and instability. Its military resources were limited. Even if Germany provided support, recovering territories such as Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona would be extraordinarily difficult. The United States possessed far greater economic and military capabilities. Ultimately, Mexican leaders showed little enthusiasm for the proposal. The alliance envisioned in Berlin was unlikely to become reality. At the same time, another major factor was influencing American decision-makers. Germany had resumed unrestricted submarine warfare. Merchant vessels crossing the Atlantic faced increasing danger. American leaders viewed these attacks as violations of neutral rights. Combined with the Zimmermann telegram, the submarine campaign created a powerful political effect. Together, the two issues convinced many previously hesitant observers that neutrality might no longer be sustainable. The debate that had divided the nation for years was reaching a decisive moment. The United States stood at a crossroads. In early April 1917, the debate finally reached its conclusion. President Woodrow Wilson asked Congress for a declaration of war against Germany. In his address, Wilson argued that the world must be made safe for democracy. The request reflected multiple factors. The submarine campaign had endangered American lives and commerce. The Zimmermann telegram had raised concerns about German intentions toward the United States. Public opinion had shifted dramatically in recent months. On April 6, 1917, Congress approved the declaration. The United States officially entered the First World War. The arrival of the United States transformed the strategic balance of the war. At first, the American military presence in Europe remained limited. Building and transporting a large army across the Atlantic required time. However, Germany now faced a new reality. The industrial capacity of the United States was enormous. Its financial resources were vast. Its population offered access to millions of potential soldiers. Even before large numbers of troops reached the battlefield, Allied morale improved. German leaders increasingly recognized that time was no longer on their side. The long-term implications were profound. Today, the Zimmermann telegram is remembered as one of the most influential intelligence successes in modern history. The message itself was relatively short, yet its consequences were enormous. It demonstrated the power of cryptography, espionage, and information warfare. It highlighted how intelligence operations could shape public opinion and international relations. Most importantly, it showed how a single communication could alter the course of a global conflict. More than a century later, the telegram remains a remarkable example of how information can become a strategic weapon. The Zimmermann telegram was more than a diplomatic message. It was a turning point in modern intelligence history. Intercepted by British codebreakers, revealed through careful espionage work, and amplified by public reaction, The telegram helped reshape the political landscape of World War I. Germany hoped the message would prepare for a possible conflict with the United States. Instead, it helped bring that conflict closer. Its story demonstrates how information, secrecy, and intelligence can influence nations just as powerfully as armies and weapons. The telegram's legacy continues to be studied as one of the most consequential communications ever transmitted.